Alright everybody, my funky hat. Back in the garage. It's Sunday, I think the 11th of October. Nope, 12th. Anyway, doing a little bit of work on the car. Did a little bit of work on the other Corvette door. I still got some sanding to do. And let's sand this area. I taped it off with tape along the edges so that I don't round that peak off too bad. I'm gonna do those gently by hand. I don't know if that's how it's normally done. There's a guy on YouTube, Bad Chad, and I've seen him do it a few times and talk about it, and I'm a pure amateur at it, so that's what I did. Some table legs and a table, if I can get it flipped over, little table. Just something for my wife that it goes in the house. I gotta put some nails down there, tighten it up. As you can see, it was, I mean, I don't even know, they had like epoxy glue something. It was super stupid thick, and the screws were all stripped out and it was super wobbly. So I took and put little dowels in the holes there and there, sanded it all up and cleaned it up, and so I was doing that. See my chainsaw, I'm getting ready to sharpen the blade. I do them by hand. It's the only way I know how to do them right now. But back on the car for right now, because I'm waiting for that varnish to dry. I'll show y'all. So on the front, my shock has been breaking right here. And this is a different shock. I don't even know if it's any good, y'all. But mine has a bigger lip right here. Let me show y'all. So I run a Bilstein, whatever, shock. This is it, right here. As you see, I've been breaking right there. But if you see that big lip, that's what goes up there. Big difference in the way that it's made. And I think this was positioned over here, and I think what was happening is it was hitting this and binding, because the track I'm at is super rough, unprepared. But anyway, so I got another shock. I put some shims here to kick it that away. It's a different shock. This is a super old shock. Same length. So I put some shims there, put a shim there. I came down here. This was broke. Y'all saw it probably in another video. So I welded a new one on there. I took my spring was hitting up here and sitting kind of crooked. So I cut this, and then I cut that around, and then I did a small weld right here. I welded a piece of plate on here. So what's happening is when I turn all the way to the right, this bolt that holds your line on, and yes, I ground the shit out of it. Anyway, that bolt hits the shock and pushes on it, puts dents in it. I noticed it on my other one. And for the temporary time, right here, I welded a long ass bolt and a plate on my other one, and it just goes so far to where it just barely missed that shock and would hit and stop it. So this one, new A-arm, because my other one was bent. This one has this plate on it, and I noticed that when I turn, I could turn and it hits this and stops. But if I put a plate out here, it keeps this off probably an eighth or 3/16. So I just welded a little piece of strip that I cut off of up there on there. So I got this camera in my hand, y'all, so as you can see, oops, that just barely misses, but it hits right there, and not a whole lot, but a little. Don't mind the welds. The welds they're my welds. They suck. So anyway, I got a new ball joint in here. Y'all probably can't really tell, but I welded it like 80% around. There's an area that I didn't weld simply because it's going to be super hard to cut it if I have to cut it out. So I didn't do it on that area. My spring cup, which is homemade, it's a serpentine belt pulley with a V-belt pulley on the top to get the right support. But anyway, I notched it. I cut a section up here of the V-belt. I cut the top lip off. I threw it over there, but anyway, I cut that off. So but the front end's back together, and I'm gonna actually just try this shock the first couple races out because it's free. And I can't afford to keep buying these Bilsteins that I've broken 2 or 3 times in a damn row. So I'm just gonna try the other one. I have another video. I have to check and see if I actually published it, but whew, sorry y'all, I didn't sleep last night. I've been doing a 3D print of a pumpkin, jack-o'-lantern, and it's a 1 day and 9 hour and some odd seconds or minutes print, and I still got 12 hours to go. So I was up all night watching that and checking that. But I got in a wreck and bent this tube and the very bottom tube, and it could have simply just been because that shock kept breaking and the car would sit down further. But like I say, the track is super rough, so to avoid this digging into the track or just simply bending it up, it was all bent up anyway, I just cut it off. I'm not even going to run that right there, because what's that really going to do for me? It's not going to hit a bumper or anything on a car. This stuff up here does. So I cut it off, and I'm not going to have to worry about it. And when my front end comes around here, that up there, yeah, it's going to be soft. I don't care. I'd rather it fold under and dig in than it hit the ground. And everybody's car digs in. You cannot run the... Look at that, y'all. That would not have been good. Well, I might have to remember that. I got to pull that radiator anyway. I don't like it leaning. And I'm going to cut this tube out and set it back, and I'm going to move it, and I'm going to make some new brackets. So yeah, so I did that. I cut the roof. I took the roof off. I cut the framing that was sitting on top of this that you see in another video, because as I explained before, I'm going to raise this roof. Basically, I'm gonna take some pipe and stick it on here about like yo, here, there, up there, over there, probably one in the middle, or I'm gonna run a bar at an angle. I don't know why they did this straight one and didn't run it at an angle. I may cut that out here, I don't know. Well, I'll leave that one, but the other one that's up here, but when I put this here, I may put another one right there just to help beef up the cockpit area. But this one's longer than what I'm planning. But anyway, it's gonna go about like that. As you can see, when I took that little H looking frame right there, was welded to the top of this roof, and that's what the roof sat on. So anyway, I found a bunch of holes, and they were really thin, so I welded them up last night. A couple of them don't look too bad, but it was kind of a pain, but they were all over the place. That one over there is really ugly. Splatter from the MIG. There. Shrink y'all back down. Right there. There. So they were in the front. They were on the bottom and on the top. So I'm gonna end up grinding these down, making sure I don't have pinholes, stuff like that, so that I got some structural strength, and then we'll build those verticals and stuff out of some DOM 1.5 inch. That main front cage is all 1 3/4, and then to the rear end, this was out here on the axle. As you can see, I already cut that one off. But what I'm gonna do is, both of them are mounted on top of the axle. I'm gonna take this one, put it over there on the right hand side on top of the axle. But I'm gonna take the one that was over there, and I'll show y'all in a minute why, but I'm gonna take that one over there, and I'm gonna put it on the front of the axle, and I'm gonna go halfway, about half of the distance of the thickness of the axle. And what I'll do is, it's kind of hard with two hands, but just, this is the back, but just pretend that it's the front. When I mount that perch right here and come out, I'm gonna build 2 gussets that come around this and out like a triangle, and this is going to sit on it, and I'll weld those, and then I'll tack weld this to the tube, and then I'll weld this to that those plates, but it's going to be up front. And what I want to do is I want to put them directly under the frame. Might be a little hard, but that's the plan. If they don't go directly under the frame, then I'll take some tubing and I'll build a triangle out here, coming out, over, straight back, and maybe one up, so that it can't go up and it can't come down, because I like bracing. But that will line the top of the spring up exactly with this rear spring, this other spring on the axle. And I'm thinking moving it in that far when it was out here, and that's moving it probably 5 inches to be under this axle. I think that might be a little bit too much. But let me take y'all to the other side and I'll show y'all this other shock perch, or spring perch, sorry. So as you can see, it looks just like the other one, but it has this plate, right? So I'm gonna cut this off of here, cut it off right there. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna weld this plate to the axle, like so, probably about like that. And then I'm going to turn this cup this way to this, this is going to be on the other side, but this is where I took it off, on this side. It was way in here. Now I don't see how that really does good. I think it should be out here. But what I'm going to do is, this one, I'm almost positive that I'll run it directly under the frame and get it out here for my spring. So my spring sits straight up and down, and I'll drill a hole in here, put a sleeve plug, and my jack bolt will go right through that into my jack cup, and it will be good. So put this bolt up here before I lose it, y'all. All right, so anyway, so basically I'm gonna do this like I was telling y'all over here, and then I'm gonna turn this cup this way, you know. So one sitting on top, I don't really need this plate. I may make one, but I highly doubt it. I don't really need this plate because I can just weld it straight to the axle. But on that side, like I say, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna build my gussets off of here, and so I ain't welding. And then I put this plate, weld it to this, and then weld this like this, and on top of my gussets. So that's kind of the plan, y'all. But back to the other side, so I forgot to show you. The way this jackass had this, the jack bolts, you can see the chrome over there and the metal over here. He had that crap, square tubing and all of that ugliness that y'all have seen in other videos sticking out here. And I'm gonna make it nice, but see that? That's part of the weld that didn't cut off yet. But I could weld this and I think it would be just fine. I could cut it, put a tube inside and a tube on the outside, and weld it and be super strong. But I'm gonna do one of two things. I'm either just gonna weld this shut, or I'm gonna cut it right here and right there, and I'm just gonna replace that whole tube right there, probably with 1 1/4. I think that's what this is. It might be 1 1/2, but I think it's 1 1/4. Either way, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I got going on, y'all. So we'll see how it all goes. I found another bolt right here. Anyway, just to bring you up to date, do a quick little 15-20 minute video. That's where we're at, and I'm gonna cut that off. We'll cut this off today, and what do I do with the other one? This is that top part of that V belt. part of the V-belt pulley on that other side for the jack bolt. Anyway, I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna get back to work. I wasted the whole morning this morning doing nothing. And yeah, I'll bring you back later today or tomorrow, give you another update. I'm on my phone, not on my Insta. So I'll see about getting my Insta out and do some recording when we start on that roof and welding the tubes and stuff. Right now I'm basically just tearing shit apart and getting it prepped, and I gotta pull the motor and the tranny soon. Yeah, so I'll bring you back later. Have a good Sunday. God bless you. Have a safe day. Spend some time with y'all's family. Peace out.